In this video, we're going to go over basically how to run a term quote engine, and I'm going to show you some really great new features available on the term quote engine at First Protective's website. In order to get to it, go to firstprotective.com, highlight Life Insurance, Quotes, and select Term Quotes from the upper navigation bar. You'll get to the First Protective term quote engine and can begin entering in some information about your client. We'll start with the name. If we'd like, we can enter in some agent information, including agent name, phone number, and agent license number that will print out on the term quote spreadsheet. Next, we'll enter a date of birth. And we suggest that you enter in the actual date of birth if you know it, rather than just put the age in the age last or age nearest boxes, because some carriers still price their term products based on age last birthday, and if you know the exact birth date and enter it in, you can get a more competitive premium with some carriers than with others. We'll select the gender, state, and for the amount of insurance, we have a needs analysis that's built into the term quote engine that's quick and easy to use, so we'll just walk through that now. We'll click the box and complete just some basic questions that help us get to the amount of insurance that our clients will really need. So we'll start with the total annual income needed by your spouse or children in the event of your death. We'll make an assumption there and also choose how many years we need that income. We also need to enter in the gross annual income currently and date of birth. Next, we put in a spouse's gross annual income. For this purpose, we'll assume 0, and then select whether we have any outstanding debt that we want to pay off. We'll assume that we have an outstanding mortgage, and then make an assumption on burial expenses. Then a total amount of existing life insurance. We'll just assume a one-time salary existing coverage, and then we make an interest rate assumption. Once we do that, hit the Calculate the Need button, and the system will actually calculate, based on this information, a recommended insurance amount. The system will also show you a spreadsheet showing each year and how that insurance amount will pay down, including the interest calculation built into that. You can actually print this out and give it to your client. And then you can select the Use for Quote, and the information based on the recommended insurance amount will pull back into the term quote. So there you see the amount right there. Next, we'll choose a payment option. We always set annual because in the report we'll be able to see the other payment options. A desired product, we recommend always selecting guaranteed, and then a desired length. We'll select 20 years, but you can actually select more than one here and compare the difference. Next, we'll come down to the health class. Now, if you don't know your client very, very well and know specifically what health class, we suggest that you not select Preferred Best, but that you go with a Standard or a Standard Plus. However, our term quote engine has a great new feature that's in partnership with the X-ray vendor to help me determine the health class, and we'll walk through that right quick because it is a great tool if you have your client there and you can ask them some questions to get a much more accurate health classification rating. So we'll pull up the dialog box here, and you'll see that the basic information from the quote, gender, date of birth, face amount, and product type, is already pulled over from the quote engine. We'll move into the next section for physical build, and we'll say 5 feet 11 inches, client's weight, and then chest exceeds weight. We have a healthy client, so we'll select yes. We'll go into tobacco use, and so here we will assume no tobacco use, but if we did select yes for any one of these, we'll pull down additional boxes to get more clarification to these particular answers. We'll move into the next section on family history. Here we'll assume that we had a father that was diagnosed with cancer. He was 50 when he was diagnosed. He did not die from cancer, and select the type of cancer. Again, we can go through this with any of these other questions and provide some clarifying information. We'll go to the next section, and in this section where we have blood pressure profile. If we know that information, great, let's put it in. If we don't know it, the system will allow us to keep going. So we'll select next, and the same is the case with cholesterol. Now the more information we put in this tool, the better the tentative rate classification will be, but the system will allow you to go through even if you don't know everything about your client. We'll assume no moving violations, and we'll move on to the next section to get a summary. So this will recap the information on what we know about your client, and then we can hit I'm finished, return to quote, and all of that information that we selected will pull over. In the health classification area, now we can do a quick preview of the rate classification results. And so here, based on the information that we put, these carriers would give us a preferred best rating, and these carriers would give us a preferred rating. And then we don't know about this particular carrier. At this point, we can select all carriers and products, or we can just customize a list and only show the particular carriers that we're interested in. And then we can also select any applicable riders that we would like to add. At this point, we select View All Quotes, and we will see a list of all the quotes from a ascending premium order, so you have your least expensive first going up the line. And we'll scroll back to the top, and here you can see a list of carriers that show up on this report. So at this point, we want to compare some carriers, and our term quote engine will let you compare up to 8 carriers in one report, and so you can do 8. For this purpose, we'll just do 3 or 4 of them here. You'll also see some links out to the side where you can go directly to the forms, go directly to the eApp process, or for carriers that have a specific drop ticket or eApp tool that's specific to that carrier, you can access it right there. We'll have these options in a few minutes also. So we're going to go and scroll down to the bottom and compare checked. At this point, we'll pull up a nice report that lays out each one of these carriers side by side, and we can look at their premiums. We can scroll down, and we can also see some basic information, including the ratings, how the age was calculated, any notes, and the pay options, which is great information for your client. So you can look at the annual pay, the semi-annual pay, what a quarterly pay would be, or what a monthly pay would be. Now at this point, we can print out a really nice compliance-approved report that shows all this information that we can give to our client. So I'll click the Print Quotes, and that will pull up a dialog box, and I will select Print. I want to show all premium years rather than just a quick view, because it will show any carrier that has a auto renewal option, and you can show your clients how once it gets to the end of the term length, then the policy will either lapse or go into a annual auto renewal status. And you can see none of these do. And I'll scroll down to the bottom of the third page actually, and that's where we see our rating information and the pay information. All of the highlight client information will be at the top of each page, and this is again, it's a compliant approved and AIC approved illustration that you can print out and you can give to your client. Now at this point, once again, you can go directly into the forms library and get your paper forms out. You can go directly into the eApp process and go ahead and apply using the online tool, or for carriers that provide it, you can go into their drop ticket or tele-app process right here from this. And so this is a quick way of running your term quotes, highlighting particularly the needs analysis tool and the new feature to help you determine rate classification.